meeting for May.
Sorry.
I heard a voice all of a sudden.
Sorry about that. I just started recording.
Okay. I may have to put my dog in a crate. I'm sorry. But anyway, we're calling the meeting to order, the May meeting of the Emmitsburg Planning Commission. Welcome, everyone. So we'll start off with the Pledge to Allegiance. If you're able to, you can stand, but I'm going to have a simulated flag here. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we next have the review and approval of minutes for April 26th. Did anybody have any comments or questions about the minutes? Watson, come on. If not, do I hear a motion for approval?
I move that we approve the minutes of April 26th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 26th. All in favor?
Real quick, I'm sorry. Moved by Mark. I'm sorry, real quick. Moved by Bernard. Who seconded?
Joe,
Oh,
can you hear
Joe.
me?
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm sorry. I didn't see your pictures. I didn't realize you were there.
I'm faceless, but I'm here.
Okay, got it.
so all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Do we have any public comment?
No, I don't believe so. Everyone here is for the first three items.
Okay. So we'll move on to business. It appears that we don't have any old business, but we have 5 items of new business. And the first 3 items concern the Emmitsburg East Industrial Park 2. So I was informed earlier that the applicant wished to table the delineation plan and the forest conservation plan. Is that still the case, or
Yes.
are we still going to review those plans, or just what's your intention here?
Yeah, so we'll go over the plans, so we don't have to go over it the next time. But basically what they're going to do is they're just going to clean up the comments and then possibly make a few changes, as I stated on my email.
Okay. So you want to start with item number 1?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Emmitsburg East Industrial Park 2 Forest Delineation Plan. This is on Creamery Court across US 15, and the zoning district is the industrial park. Previously, the town's planning commission approved a preliminary plat for a 3-year period on May 29th, 2018. The applicant is now proposing modifications to the previously approved plat. They want to decrease the size of lot 3 from 3 acres to 2.9 acres, decrease the size of lot 4 from 3 acres to 2.9 acres, decrease the size of lot 5 from 5.5 to 5.1 acres, decrease the size of lot 6 from 5.3 to 4.8 acres, decrease the size of lot 7 from 4.0 to 3.7 acres, and increase the size of lot 8 from 3.6 acres to 4.4 acres. The previously approved forest plans have expired. In accordance with the submitted plan and chapter 1648 forest conservation, the reforestation required is 2.56 acres, afforestation required 1.85 acres, for a total of 4.41 acres. The developer is proposing to conduct the required forestry mitigation on site at this time at the property owner association POA outlot. As always, there is our timeline when they submitted. Agency reviews, as you can see, we submitted it to our typical agencies, and the vast majority had no comments, and the planning department and RK&K had comments. Right now, as requested, we're going to move that the planning commission table the plan until further notice. As you can see, we had 11 comments. They are very, very minimal, nothing to be worried about. And again, the applicant is thinking about going the fee in lieu route. However, that's still up in the air. So we'll just keep these comments on for tonight, but we're asking that the planning commission table this for now. And then I'll turn it over to Mike and Dan Reaver, who's the property owner, if they have anything additional that I missed or want to add anything.
I'll go ahead. Thank you, Zach. My name is Mike Battern. I'm with Fox and Associates, Inc., representing Emmitsburg East Industrial Park, LLC, and the owner, Mr. Dan Reaver. As far as the forest stand delineation plan, we do not have any issues with those comments that have been provided. One of the reasons why we suggested to table both the FSD, the forest stand delineation plan, and the preliminary forest plan is to address the comments and further look into, doing the fee in lieu to meet the forest plan requirements. But as far as the forest stand delineation, those comments we do not have any issues with. Dan Reaver is also with us. Dan, if you have anything to add to that or have any questions or concerns.
Okay, well, weren't we also going to recalculate the based off of adding the critical area into reforestation?
Yeah, I figure we're gonna get to that plan next, I believe, right?
Oh, okay.
Back the preliminary forest plan.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, sir.
All right, I'm good to go.
Okay. Does the board, I'm sorry, I'll turn it over to Mark. Mark, sorry. It's up to you. You're up.
So you are going to review the forest conservation plan, correct? The preliminary forest conservation plan?
Yep, we'll go there next. I was just seeing if any of you had questions, and then I'd ask for you to officially table it.
Well, so I heard comments that you might be considering the fee in lieu. As I interpret the town's ordinance, in order for you to do that, you have to show us some compelling reason why you aren't able to do the afforestation or the reforestation. Are you prepared to do that?
Well, we actually, our preliminary forest plan that's before you tonight that we requested to be tabled, we were providing the forest requirements on site until I guess it was last Thursday. Zach had brought it to our attention that the fee in lieu could be an option if we decided to go that route. So that kind of set us back some, and to give us enough time to actually look into that and have the owner, Dan Reaver, decide on whether or not he wanted to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can follow up with that. Yes, that is correct. I did bring that to their attention. Town staff and the mayor are comfortable accepting the fee in lieu. Basically, they have three options. They can do mitigation on site, they can buy credits through the town, or they can buy credits through the county. With our interpretation of the code, we're able to be flexible. So.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for Zach.
Yeah. Yes, Joe, go ahead.
Okay, Zach, you mentioned the fee in lieu is still up in the air. Is that because of the three options that you just stated?
Yes. They, I don't want to put words in Dan's mouth, but I guess it would be an option for them to review to see, it is, I will be honest, it is a pain in the butt to plant on your property. There are tons of, you have to do a bond, you have to do short-term, long-term easements, agreements. And, usually the easier option is to pay the fee in lieu.
Okay.
The town does projects from time to time, so we do have use of the money if Dan would want to go that route, but he also has the option to go to the county. It's up to Dan.
Okay, I'm sorry, I knew it was either, plant the trees, seek the fee in lieu, and then when you mentioned it was up in the air, I thought maybe there was a part C that I wasn't catching, so just making sure, that's all.
Sure, sure. Are there any other questions?
So I suppose this really, it has more to do with the preliminary forest conservation plan, but
Correct. Yep.
So you want to just go into that?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, could we officially table this one first?
The first one?
Yep, the delineation plan.
I'd like to take them as a pair.
Actually, we'll need them separate. They're separate plans.
Okay.
They did put it on us, they stapled them together. However, they're separate plans.
Okay. Yeah, do I hear a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table it.
Do I hear a second?
I second it, Bernard.
Thank you.
Everyone agree to table? Say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll move on to item number 2.
And just for clarification purposes, they tabled the delineation plan. Okay, so for the second plan, this is the preliminary forest conservation plan. It's the same information there on the staff memo that we provided you as the delineation, so I won't get into that. Comments for this same agencies, our department, planning department, and also our engineer for the project. Again, the comments were really not anything significant that would require us to deny the plan. There's just enough that that Dan wants to table it to the next month or the following month. So unless you want me to go over the individual comments, there's really not much different. I'm sorry.
No, there's no need to do that, at
Okay.
least for me.
And that's everything I have. They're typical comments, nothing major.
Okay. Just back to what I was bringing up earlier. I understand that it's perhaps difficult to plant trees and it's much more of a pain to do than just paying the fee in lieu. But in this situation, with you taking away some established forest, and we have a flat run there with a flood zone next to it, I would really like to see the trees planted on this site. And you're going to have to make a very compelling case to convince me. Otherwise, I can't speak for the rest of the commissioners, but you'll have to make a very compelling case to me why you can't plant the trees. Just putting that out there.
All right. Are there any other comments from the board, questions? Mike, do you have
This
anything?
forest isn't an old growth forest by any stretch, but it's a fairly mature forest, and some of the species are what they call keystone species that really provide the key to a healthy ecological system. And, with taking a large portion of that away, planting trees, it takes decades and decades for you to create a really sound ecosystem. And of course, you'll be doing that anyway if you do the reforestation on site, but at least it will be in the flood zone and help with, controlling sediment going downstream, controlling other contaminants from entering the stream. And it will provide some sort of link between the established So that's just my opinion.
Sorry, I cut out there for a while. That was my internet. Thank you, Mark. Mike, do you have anything?
Yes, I would like to just make a couple comments. So the existing four stand A and B, we are proposing to retain the existing forest and B. All the trees along Flat Run, which is not, all of it is not considered existing forest.
Right.
Will likely remain. However, Forest Stand A, one of the reasons why we decided to table it is because the plan that you have currently in your possession, we were only retaining a certain portion of that, of the 1.81 acres. And one of the comments that we received, I believe it was number 11, it actually, it wanted an explanation why some of the additional steep slope area was not being retained. And Dan we have decided to add more of that steep slope area, which is a priority area for retainage. We were going to retain more of that area. Originally we were contemplating putting an existing forest easement on a buildable lot, but due to the slopes, we now feel that, and Dan feels that, that really likely will not impact that buildable area for those lots. So, and we got to recalculate the numbers. Like I said, out of the 1.81 acres, I would say a majority of that is currently on your plan. That hatch area is the retainage, and we're going to retain a bit more. I don't have the acreage with me tonight, but and that's going to reduce our afforestation requirement. I do have that number. So our afforestation on the preliminary forest plan was 4.41 acres. By us retaining more of the existing forest in Forest Stand A, it's going to bring that requirement down to roughly 3 acres of afforestation requirement. So,
Okay. But you're going to work on that and redefine it or realign it or redraw it, I should say.
yeah, we're going to recalculate the numbers, and then I guess we'll have to work with staff to see if at that point, if the fee in lieu is still a justifiable option for Dan. I guess one of the thoughts I also had was, what if we did a combination of afforestation? Now I'm just throwing that out there. I don't want to, Dan can speak for himself too, but if we did a combination of a fee in lieu and a portion of afforestation, rather than doing, all afforestation or all fee in lieu, I guess the other option, maybe a third option, would be a combination of both. I don't know how Dan feels about that, but
Yeah, and
something discussed internally.
that's what we approved for Rudders as well. So they did a combination.
Right.
I'd be open to consider that myself personally.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think, obviously with what the code says, we have priority areas for afforestation. We have, basically the floodplain, all of Flat Run. And that was our original proposal, which is what you have before you.
Right.
And then until late last week, it came to our attention that fee in lieu could be an option. So.
Okay. Okay, well, any other comments from any other commission members? Okay. So if your preference is to go ahead and table this, I suppose we can do that. You'll hear a motion to table the preliminary forest conservation plan.
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to table the preliminary forest conservation plan.
And you want a second, Joe?
Joe seconds.
Okay.
Sorry, Joe.
That's quite all right.
So we have a motion.
Sorry to do this when you're not. Yes.
We have a motion and a second to table the preliminary forest conservation plan. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is tabled. So we'll move on to the next item, the preliminary subdivision plat for Emmitsburg East Industrial Park.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, the same information. This is the preliminary subdivision plat on Creamery Court. Same information as I described before, decreasing some lot sizes, increasing one lot size. Also, something different, on April 19th, 2021, the mayor and board of commissioners approved the location of the required sewage pump station to be located on the town's wastewater treatment plant property. If Dan would decide to do this, there's still another option. Take over ownership of the pump station once accepted by the Maryland Department of Environment and the town, and also provide the electric to the pump station. The proposed use of the subject property is consistent with the town of Emmitsburg zoning ordinance and also our comprehensive plan. Again, there's our table for the timeline, agency review comments. Dan and Mike from Fox was not asking to table, staff's requesting we table this. We still need information. If you want me to go through the comments, I can, but the significant comments are, we need the adequate public facilities ordinance information and that application, specifically for the water, sewer, and emergency services. Technically, per the code, we can't approve this plan until the planning commission approves those documents. So we're waiting on that. Other comments are pretty simple, scales, access drives, etc. Regarding the pump station, Dan is still deciding if he wants to provide a pump station or go the route of individual grinder pumps for each lot. So that's another reason why we probably should table this tonight to, clean that up. If we're not going to do a pump station on the property, that should be removed from the preliminary subdivision plat. Other than that, if you have any specific questions on comments, I'm more than happy to answer those, or if not, I can just go over to Mike now.
And any commissioners have any questions or comments? Okay. Mike, do you have anything?
No, I just would like to clarify something. We do have the note in the lower left corner of sheet 1 of 2, which basically states the low pressure sewer system would be an option rather than the gravity sewer and the pump station, which is shown on the plan. Dan wanted to, and we talked with the town previously about this option, and he wanted to keep that option open due to the overall cost of the pump station itself, which is quite expensive for Dan to have to bear. So originally, though, Zach, I thought this low pressure system per that note was going to be an option, a viable option, as far as a conditional approval when that time came for this preliminary plat.
It is. It's just that, it's going to be tabled tonight. At my request is going to be tabled if the board agrees. And, if Dan decides in the next month or so that he's not going to go the pump station route, I just want that removed from the plan.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't make sense to have it if the pump station's not going in.
Right. Agree. If Dan, he'll need to decide that here.
But yes, if Dan's, hasn't made that decision at such point as you want to bring this back, we'll definitely, obviously, we'll need to know at the improvement plat stage.
Correct.
So,
Okay. As far as the other comments, actually, Zach and I have already talked about any concerns that we had, and we'll work with through those comments and address them accordingly with staff. I don't have anything else to add unless Dan has anything.
I don't really have anything. We're just gonna work with the staff then about some of these other comments that we talked about.
Correct.
We talked about item 10, but that's always been, we were aware of that up front. Zach, why is that? Why do we have to have that put on this drawing if it's already part of the right of way The sewer right away is already there.
Let me look at the comments. So a new air release valve vault will be constructed on the 14-inch force main as part of the new Creamery Road pump station. Town staff will provide the preliminary drawings. So that was a request of our engineer. I'll have to go back and ask Rob why he specifically wanted that on the preliminary plat, but I can get back to you, Dan.
Well, actually, it's asking for access, which there's already an existing easement there. It's an existing town easement.
Okay, I'll talk with Rob about that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? So since there are so many conditions that need to be met, particularly the adequate public facilities issues, Zach has asked us to table this for this evening, so I see no reason not to. Looks like we aren't quite prepared to move forward with it. So do I hear a motion to table?
Joe,
Bernard,
man, he beat me. Everybody's beating me.
All right, so Bernard made it, Joe second, right?
Yeah, I can live with that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to table the preliminary subdivision plat for Emmitsburg East Industrial Park 2. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? So that item is tabled.
Okay, thank you. It's not gonna, I was talking with Mike today, or was it yesterday? The days go together anymore. And it sounds like this will not be on the June agenda, but it's a possibility for the July agenda. Just
Okay.
FYI.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mike, Dan, and
yeah. Thank you, Mike and Dan, and
Bruce.
thank you, Bruce, even though I didn't see your face. Thanks for being here,
Yeah.
Bruce.
I'm here. I've been listening, just keeping you all in line with my thoughts.
I understand.
So thank
Bruce
you.
is Dan's attorney, by the way.
Bruce and I know each other.
We
Okay.
do. It's all good. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
All right.
And you're welcome to stay. Aren't kicking you out. But we'll move on to the next item, proposed ordinance 21.05, an update to Title 16 regarding subdivisions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, as Mark said, proposed ordinance 2105, which would amend Title 16 subdivisions. The proposed amendment includes various updates, such as adding expiration dates on approved preliminary subdivision plats, our unrecorded final plats, and also improvement plats. Just so you know, we already do have expiration date on preliminary subdivision plats, but we cleaned it up a little bit. Moves all sidewalk construction requirements to Chapter 1208. Allows Planning Commission to waive sidewalk requirements in industrial park subdivisions. Requires new cul-de-sacs, include a 20-foot by 10-foot easement to allow stockpile snow, or excuse me, an easement to stockpile snow for winter road maintenance, and moves the park fee in lieu amount from ordinance to resolution, and it requires precast concrete storm drainage structures to be built per state highway administrative standards. Again, there is the timeline. We originally presented this to the Board of Commissioners on May 3rd. As you can see tonight, we're talking about it and going to recommend a vote. And then the Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing and final vote on June 21st. The next page, I always add the town code requirements that requires the Planning Commission to review and forward their comments. And our suggested motion is to recommend approval of the proposed ordinance. I will now move to going through the updates, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay.
Sure.
So under section 161230, under improvement plats, all improvement plat approval shall automatically expire 3 years after the date on which the Planning Commission approves the improvement plat, unless construction has begun as defined right below there the start of construction as set forth in paragraph 3 of the subsection. So the next section is 161240. Unrecorded final plats, once approved, shall remain valid for a period of 3 years, after which they shall become void if recordation has not occurred within 3 years period from the date of approval. Section 161630, street design standards, made a quick grammatical change, and also sidewalks. We have a sidewalks chapter in our code, so our attorney stated that it'd make more sense to have all the requirements there. So the design must meet the minimum standards that are set forth in chapter 1208, which are incorporated herein. Also, we did the same thing under G6. And then for Q, we added or accepted under section 161630, which we're about to talk about. And then under sidewalks, see chapter 12.8. And then W, here's the exception of which I was just referring to. Exception: sidewalk, curb, and gutter alternative. In industrial park subdivisions, the planning commission may allow for open section roads provided the proposed development complies with all other requirements stated in subsection P of this section. So basically, right now, the planning commission has the authority to defer curb and gutter in industrial parks. We're requesting to add sidewalks as well. And then the planning commission can make a determination if that would be appropriate for whatever industrial park subdivision may come your way, which we just talked about tonight. Section 161660 easements. This is recommended. The closed end of all proposed cul-de-sacs must include a 20-foot by 10-foot easement to stockpile snow for winter road maintenance. We haven't had any problems in town. However, I've done some research and this is pretty common in most municipalities. So when our guys go and plow, they have to put the snow somewhere. So at the end of the cul-de-sac makes the most sense. And, we need to have an easement there to protect the town just in case, someone would ever complain that, hey, you're stockpiling snow in my yard. Why are you doing that? Well, we have an easement. So 1616-100, this was a recommendation back, I think last year, of the planning commission. We're going to remove the fee of $1,200 per residential dwelling unit and make it in policy resolution or resolution, which will be resolution. Improvements 162020, again, just minor errors to include sidewalks. And then B, I won't read all of that, but this basically updates our antiquated stormwater infrastructure code. So it requires developers to put in, the new standard according to State Highway Administration. And that's basically it. It's all common sense stuff, I believe.
Hey, Zach.
Yes, Dan. Or I'm sorry,
Hey,
Mr. Chairman.
Excuse me. Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question for Zach. Since my proposed plan has a cul-de-sac, why is it required to get an easement for the snow stockpiling when every lot has a 25-foot setback off the street anyway? There's nothing we can do there anyway.
Yeah, it's just for extra protection on the town. You're correct. There is a setback. However, if it goes outside of the right of way, it's technically on that person's property. And we technically can't have push snow on someone's, personal property if it's outside of the right of way. So this protects the town for those purposes.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
Sure.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for Zach or comments about the proposed changes?
This is Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Zach,
Go
when this comes back to the board, obviously you'll be explaining all this to the Board of Commissioners then, correct?
Sure.
You mean the
Yeah.
town commissioners.
Yeah, I can. However, I did a presentation at our last meeting. So I wasn't planning on redoing it, but I can if you'd like.
No, I was just making sure, 'cause that's coming back to us in June, from what I understand, correct?
Correct, that's the 21st.
Public hearing and everything.
Yep,
Okay. That said, Mr. Chair, when it comes time for vote tonight, I will be abstaining because it'll be coming back to the Board of Commissioners for final vote.
Yes, I
Okay,
understand.
gotcha. I'm good at this time then.
Okay,
And Zach, that's not required. That's not necessary. You're fine.
okay, sounds good. All right, guys, I'm gonna plug my computer in. I'm about to lose power.
I'm trying to unplug my dog, but I can't seem to do that.
The fun times of Zoom.
Yeah. So do any other commissioners have any questions or comments about these proposed changes? If not, there's 4 suggested motions. Could move to recommend approval of proposed ordinance 21-05 with comment, or move to recommend approval without comment, or move to recommend denial with comment, or recommend denial without comment. So does anybody wish to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, but just a question for Zach first. Do we need to make a motion with comment or can we do it without comment? Zach?
You can do it without comment.
Okay, I just want to make sure I make the motion.
Yep.
Then I'll make a motion to move the recommended approval of proposed ordinance 2105 without comment.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend approval of proposed ordinance 21-5 with no comments. Is there a second?
What does
Joe,
that do?
second.
to the-
So Bernard
Without-
second.
Without comments, what does that do to the proposed ordinance?
It recommends approval. So you're
right.
recommending approval. Yep.
Got it.
It just means we aren't placing any other conditions on it. We don't want to make any changes or have nothing else to say other than what's already been written.
All right, then I second it.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the proposed ordinance. All in favor? Aye.
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 And I understand Joe is abstaining,
That is correct.
so we have approval. What? Stop it.
All right. Thank you. This next one is even easier. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is proposed ordinance 21-06, which would amend title, Town Code Title 17 zoning. The proposed amendment would update the definitions of hotel and motel and also update section 174850, which is site plan requirements. As always, there is our timeline. It's the same timeline as our previous. The presentation from the Board of Commissioners was on May 3rd. Tonight's the recommendation vote, and then the public hearing and final vote for the commissioners is scheduled for June 21st. As always, there is the town code requirement that requires the planning commission to review and make a recommendation. We are recommending approval of this ordinance, and then I'll also just go briefly over the changes. So chapter 1704, section 170420. We worked with the town attorney in order to address these comments. We just want to make sure, to sum it up, we want to make sure that hotels and motels don't turn into multifamily dwelling units. So these definitions will be able to, in the B2 zoning district. So these definitions will make sure that that does not happen, according to our attorney. Basically, it updates the hotel ordinance to read as follows, or the hotel definition. Hotel means any building containing 10 or more fully furnished, including linens, guest rooms, suites, or a combination thereof units, where for compensation lodging, meals, or both, excluding a fraternity or sorority house, school or college dormitory, or tourist house. Each unit or suite shall provide its own toilet, washroom, and off-street parking facilities. Units may include kitchen facilities. Motel means any building containing less than 10 fully furnished guest rooms, including linens, where for compensation, temporary lodging is provided for guests, excluding a fraternity or sorority house, school, or college dormitory, or tourist house. Each unit shall provide its own toilet, washroom, and off-street parking facilities. And then finally, section 1748.050, site plan requirements. We added, as we spoke about in the previous ordinance, we added sidewalks unless accepted under section 1616.030 W. So that just cleans that up. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Any commissioners have any questions or comments for Zach, or anything to say about the proposed changes to the ordinance?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have one question for Zach.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Because I'm apologize, I didn't go back to the code to look at the definition. What is a tourist home?
Oh, geez. I have to pull that up quick.
Ooh, I got you.
Hold on one second. I can get it pretty easy.
I don't know why I never caught that before, or it's jumping out at me tonight for some reason.
Let me see. I'll read the definition here. Hopefully we have one. Okay, tourist home means a dwelling in which for compensation, lodging only is provided or offered to not more than 12 transient guests. A tourist home shall not be deemed a home occupation. So I am the zoning administrator. So basically it goes down to my interpretation of the code. And without doing a lot of study into this, I'm gonna, think that's more like a Airbnb
Okay,
situation.
that's where I was going with this, because I
That's-
remember we had some
I thought that
questions
too.
regarding that in the past. Yeah, Glenn, you remember.
Yeah,
some-
I was there for it. I remember.
some heated arguments over that.
Mhm.
All right, so we have I'm not going down that route tonight, but it looks like there's a possibility that they would be permissible within town limits then.
Yeah, and it's a really, as I kind of stated at the Board of Commissioners meeting, that is such a hot topic with municipalities in the past couple of years, with Airbnb just blowing up recently. And the counties in Maryland specifically, they're not getting their amusement taxes or admission taxes, which is 5%. So
Correct.
we lose 5% of that revenue. So yeah, that's definitely something we probably should address in the future.
Okay.
That's
I
something.
remember
Yeah, go ahead.
discussed it might be, but I think it was a low priority at that time.
Right. Yep. That's probably something we should definitely reach out to MML about and see if they have any model, ordinances that have been through the court system and, the municipalities that have won with those kind of ordinances.
Right. Sorry, I didn't want to railroad the discussion here tonight, but I just wanted to
That was a good question.
touch on that one. But other than that, everything else, I'm fine with everything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I know Frederick City has been grappling with the Airbnbs, and again, I don't want to go down that road, but I've been somewhat involved in that issue for another reason. But and this is totally off topic, but I would suggest that they be regulated somehow. Right now, there's no regulation. There's no taxes being collected on them. So they should be regulated at least like bed and breakfast, in my opinion, and hotels and hotels and I was suggesting that the taxes they take in go to the affordable housing fund so we can create affordable housing, since some of the Airbnbs are taking up the affordable housing and making them very high-end housing. So that was just my 2 cents off the topic to comment for now.
Yeah, and one more thing I'll state about it is it's really hard to enforce. You basically have to be, you have to check these websites every single day. And it's not just Airbnb. There's tons and tons of different, websites that people use now. So, at an enforcement level at the municipality level, it's pretty much impossible for us to enforce if we're going to do all of our other duties that we have to do. So it's just one of those things.
Okay, then. Any other comments about the proposed changes or the proposed ordinance? And I do apologize for my dog. He's really out of hand tonight.
No problem. You guys can't hear my kids, so that's fine.
Yeah. So we have, again, proposed motions. We can recommend for approval with comment, or approve without comment, or we can deny with comment, or recommend denial without comment. So anyone wish to make a motion?
This is Joe.
Yes, Joe, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we approve proposed ordinance 21-06 without comment.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second,
We have a motion and a second to recommend approval of proposed ordinance 21-06 without comment. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it carries.
Oh,
One abstention.
I'm abstaining. I made the motion just to bring it to vote, but I do
Okay,
have to
yeah, I
abstain.
was a little confused about that. Okay.
Sorry. I
No,
guess
that's
that was
fine.
procedurally, that was probably incorrect for me to do, but
No, it's not. That's okay. You can do
okay.
that.
It's fine.
It got us to vote. So at this time, though, I do abstain because it is coming to the Town Board of Commissioners at the June 21st meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
But it did carry with 3 aye votes and 1 abstention. So that concludes our new business for this evening. Is there any other business anyone wishes to bring to the commission tonight?
No
Yes,
other
Glenn.
bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Glenn-
I just
Glenn
have a question, the status on Rudders.
Oh, sure. So Rudders, they have all their approvals, all town approvals, all county approvals, all state approvals. And we are just waiting on the bonding. And then once the bondings, they provide the bonding, they also have to pay their impact fees for sewer and water. And then once that's done, I can then grant them the zoning permit. They have been approved for all of their signs except for 2. They will be applying for variances from the Board of Appeals, which I believe will be on their June agenda. However, they haven't officially applied yet, so I gave them a deadline of Friday in order to get on the Board of Appeals June agenda. So that's something, if you want to watch it, might be interesting.
They're changing
Okay,
their
just
sign.
wondering what the
Yeah, so
opening-
I'm sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
No, I hope it moves along. Every time I have to sit in line to get gas, I'm like, where's that Rudders, man? We need that Rudders, you know?
They really got held up at the state level, especially MDOT, Maryland Department of Transportation really held them up. There's a lot of comments that had to be addressed and they have to do a lot of improvements.
Okay.
Regarding Joe's question, 2 of their so they have 2 signs that I denied, one along US 15 and then one along Tawnytown Pike. Both are freestanding signs. They are requesting to make them enormous compared to our code. So
Really?
yeah, they're massive. For example, the one, what was it? Our code only allows a 50 square foot maximum freestanding sign, and they want to do over 600 some and a 50-foot tall. It's just,
Oh my God.
in my opinion, it's astronomical, but that's not my
That's
decision. That'll be the
outrageous.
Board of Appeals. So
Just-
same goes with the one along Tawnytown Pike. Again, the code states maximum of 50 square foot, and I think it's 167 square feet, and they're both digital displays. So
I was wondering, especially the one along 15. I knew they're locked into a certain size, but I was wondering if they were going to do this.
it's, at a staff level, it's worrisome because, 50-foot tall, and you have Emmett Gardens over there, and you also have Silo
Yeah.
Hill.
it's-
And
Yeah.
it's gonna be a digital display. I mean,
That's a lot of light being added to the area.
we do have restrictions on light, so that's one good thing about it. If the Board of Appeals would approve it, at nighttime, it has to go down to 250 nits, which is,
Hmm.
it's noticeable, but it's still it's still kind of high for nighttime. So it's just my opinion, but we'll see what the Board of Appeals states.
Board of Appeals, though, don't they have to, I'm sorry, I just keep asking questions here. In order to grant that request, though, the applicant, the appellant has to make, what's the word I'm looking for? They have to.
Hardship.
Yeah, and they have to meet certain conditions, correct?
You're
Like-
exactly right. And that's probably why staff's going to recommend denial of the variances. I don't know. It's just, it's pretty big. It's massive. If you guys would attend the hearing, it's really kind of crazy.
All right. I mean, they have everything in place, though, so if the signs get denied, it's not like they're gonna pull out of this thing, are they?
No, developers, they might come to the hearing and cry and say, if we don't get these signs, we're not going to be able to do business here. And it's just not true. They do this all over the country. They just did this in Gettysburg. It wasn't Rutter's. I think it was Royal Farm. They went to the Board of Appeals and tried to get a variance and it got denied. And they threatened to go out, but they're still coming in. It's just, it's just the game they play. But it's going to be hard for me to see how they're going to approve a hardship. I just don't see how it's going to be possible.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Other business
Thanks,
I
Zach.
have. Yeah, sure. Other business I have, June 28th is tentative right now. However, any applicants would have to get things to me by Friday. So I don't think we're going to have a meeting on June 28th.
All right.
But
So
I
that's tentative
I
then.
definitely foresee a meeting in July. So just keep that in the back of your heads for now.
Got it.
Okay. Anything else anybody want to share or bring up other than the barking dog?
I love animals, so it doesn't bother me.
Oh, I do too. It's just, he's right in my ear. And he isn't usually like this. I think he misses his mother.
I bet.
So anyway, anybody wish to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. A second.
I'll second.
Okay, we are adjourned, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe
Good
see
night.
you in June.
Hey, Joe, stay here for a
Yeah.
second.
Okay,
All right, thanks,
night.
guys.
Good night.
I'm in trouble.